Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you've all had a wonderful day. Today's video is actually a book tag video. So if you like these kinds of videos, then please like and subscribe for more fun things to come, and let's get into this one. So I had a little bit of a look online to try and find a book tag video to do for you guys, and I found the 20 questions book tag by Paper Fury. So they actually did this one as a blog post, but I'm going to do it as a YouTube video, so I will leave a link to their blog post in the description down below so you can check it out if you want to. So yeah, let's get into it. So question number one is, how many books are too many for a series? If you see me looking down, it's because I've written the questions down on my notepad. Now I think that 10 books is too many for a series. Even 10's pushing it a touch for me. I just think by that point you may have lost half your readers, and how much more story is there to give? I did read, I can't remember what the series was now. It was a vampire one, House of Night, I think it's House of Night, and there were like 15 books in that series, and I soldiered on because I wanted to say that I'd finished it, and honestly I think it could have been done in less than 10. I really enjoyed it and I did like it, but yeah, too many for me, so less than 10 ideally. Question 2 is, how do you feel about cliffhangers? Well, if there's a sequel, I'm on board, because then I know something is going to be tied up. I know that all the loose ends are going to come together and I'm going to know exactly what happens. If it is a book that is no intended sequel and it is just left completely on a cliffhanger, I am not impressed. I think there was a Page Toon book, Perfect Summer, and that kind of ended on a bit of a cliffhanger. You didn't really know quite what was going to happen or where their life went from there. I was fuming, and then I found out she'd written a bit of a Christmas sequel in a book with lots of other little bits and bobs. So you know what I did? I bought it because obviously I had to. I haven't read it yet, but I like the fact that the ending of that book is going to be all wrapped up for me. So yeah, probably not really a fan of cliffhangers for me. Question 3 is, hardback or paperback? I prefer a paperback to read. I think it's a lot easier. It's easier for me to hold. I just prefer it. And if I was to buy a book, I would definitely buy a paperback version. However, I do have some hardback books on my shelves that I do love and I think are really great. So yeah, I think sometimes hardback versions look lovely, but they're not as practical for me as a paperback version. So yeah, there's that. Number 4 is your favourite book. So I have probably spoken about this in a few videos. My favourite book is The Helloo by Jessica Verde. It has been my favourite since I was about 14, 15, I think. And it is one that I will just always love, I think. And it's about... Oh no, it's got like a dent in the back. This is how much love it's had. It's dented. That makes me feel really sad, actually. It's kept in the poof, and I think obviously the poof is dug into it slightly. But it's about this girl called Abby, and her best friend disappears, and there's sort of ghosts and other whimsical things, and I just adore it. It's part of a trilogy, and yeah, it's just a great series. I love it. So there's that one. Pop over there. Number 5 is my least favourite book. I will insert a picture here. It is The Other Hand by Chris Cleave. I did do a book review on it last year, and oh god, I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I soldiered on till about 3/4 of the way through, I think, and I just didn't get it. I didn't get the point of it. I didn't understand why this story was being told. I ended up looking up the ending online and didn't feel any better about it. I thought the ending was absolutely pants, and I felt like I completely wasted my time on it. The back of the book actually says, we're not going to tell you what happens. The story is in how it unfolds. Oh, I hated it. Every part of that book I disliked. But yeah, I've heard people do enjoy it, so If you're one of them, I apologise, but for me, it just wasn't the one. Number 6, love triangles, yes or no? Yeah, come on, let's be honest, we all have a love triangle. We all like to know that someone's being fought over. I have to say, I have only experienced a love triangle with a female and 2 males. I've never experienced it with a male and 2 females that I'm aware of. But yeah, I do love a love triangle. I know that from the off, you pretty much know who's gonna win the girl. But I like it. I like a little bit of competition there. I like the jealousy aspect. It's just a great read for me. So yeah, I'm a fan of love triangles. Question 7, the most recent book you couldn't finish. I will insert a picture here. It was A Grief Cottage by Gail Godwin, and it's about a boy who moves in with his aunt and finds a cottage at the end of a beach which is completely deserted, and he meets the ghost of a boy. I couldn't get into it. I really couldn't. I didn't feel like it was really going anywhere. I've read 100 pages of it, because 100 pages is kind of my cut-off point. And I just didn't feel like anything was happening. It just was awful. So yeah, that's the next one I couldn't finish. What's up next? A book you are currently reading. I am currently on A Whole New World by Liz Braswell. This is a Disney twisted tale. I'm about 2 chapters in and I am struggling a little bit with it. I am in a serious slump this month. But yeah, I'm trying my best. But by the time you guys see this, I should have finished it. So fingers crossed. The last book you recommended to someone. So the last book I actually recommended to someone was to my friend Hannah. Or I think she'd found it and then I told her it was amazing, so she needed to finish. Was The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. Obviously this is just The Raven Boys. I have the other books which I did lend to Hannah and I believe she enjoyed them, but the last book was a bit of a struggle, and I think the last book was a bit of a struggle for everyone, including myself. But I have heard that this series is much better on a reread, so that's why it is staying, so that I can give it a reread at some point. But yeah, there's that one. Number 10. The oldest book you've read by publication date. So I had to do a little bit of research on this one because there's quite a few classics that I have read fairly recently and I wasn't quite sure which one was going to make the cut for the oldest by publication date. But it was Frankenstein by Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley. It was really good. I read Frankenstein at school. I have seen about 4 or 5 different adaptations of Frankenstein film, but I'd never actually read the book. So yeah, I gave it a go. I thought it was really, really good. I liked the way it was told. Yeah, that was the oldest one by publication date. Next up is newest book you've read by publication date. So for me, it would be The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. The lovely Nikki bought me this recently when it came out in May or June, and we read it together as a buddy read, and I really, really enjoyed it. There's aspects of it that I didn't enjoy, Coriolanus Snow being one of them. I wanted him to be a nice guy, but he was just a major tit. So yeah, it was a good book. I really recommend it, especially if you kind of want it to help sum up a little bit more of the Hunger Games. But yeah, definitely worth a read. Next up is a favourite author or authors. Now this one I actually found pretty tricky to pinpoint, so I'm just going to list a few. Holly Black, Paige Toon, Holly Hepburn, Nicholas Sparks, who else is there? Jessica Verde I really like, Mallory Blackman. There are so many. I realise most of those are females, but Nicholas Sparks writes an incredible book. So yeah, there's just a few that I really enjoy. I'm a bit of a chick lit fan, if I'm honest. But yeah, there's those. Next up is number 13, buying books or borrowing them. I kind of sway both ways on this one, purely because I'm quite happy to borrow a book from the library or use my Scribd subscription or use my Libby subscription. But if I love a book, I want to own it. So that's where it becomes a little bit tricky for me. But I very, very, very rarely, like very rarely, buy a book brand new. It doesn't happen. And I'll tell you why. One, I don't like the prices of a brand new book. Two, there are so many books in charity shops out there that I try to find the books I need in a charity shop or in like a book exchange or something so that I can still own them, but for like a fraction of the price. Majority of the books on these shelves are from charity shops or from book sales or things like that. And I'm quite happy paying £1 or £2 for these books. So yeah, it's very rare I purchase a brand new book. But if I'm in a charity shop and I find a book I love, I'll buy it. So yeah, there's that. Because I find a lot of the books I tend to read are actually ones that have been out for a while. I'm not very on board with new releases. In fact, I'm a bit pants with a new release. I just don't know when they're coming. So yeah, I tend to find out about books ages after they've been written, and then I will try and find them in a charity shop. So yeah, there's that. Number 14, a book you dislike that everyone seems to love. So this one I actually found quite hard because I don't really read many new releases. I wasn't really sure quite what was about for other people. Like I had to look into it. But it's very rare that I dislike a book for as many reasons as I disliked One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I could not finish it. The writing was really hard. It was really small as well in the book I had. I didn't like where it was going. I didn't like the way they were being treated. The film I loved. The book I just couldn't get to. So I had a little bit of a Google, and it's got some fairly decent ratings on Goodreads. There were quite a few people that really said they loved it. But for me, it just wasn't the one. So, yeah, there's that one. 15, bookmarks or dog ears? This is a question that makes me feel so much anxiety. A bookmark, always. Or just write down somewhere the page number that you're on. Why would you fold the corner? I've got a friend, and I love her to pieces, but she's a book corner folder and a book dropper in the bather, and it makes me so angry. I love it to pieces, but yeah, just no folding the pages. I just can't get on board. So yeah, I love a bookmark. Even just a scrappy bit of paper, you know, anything works. Just don't fold the pages. So yeah, that's that one for me. 16, a book you can always reread. So yeah, this one is going to come up again. The Helloo by Jessica Verde. Any of the Twilight books I could reread again. I know they're that kind of that they're of that time, aren't they? But I love them and they hold a special place in my heart. So there's those, and I do intend to reread The Raven Cycle. So yeah, that's there. Probably Harry Potter books as well. I could reread. I haven't done for a long time. Yeah, maybe a reread at some point. So there's those. Can you read listening to music? Yes, provided it's instrumental, calming music. I couldn't do it listening to like just your general pop, like jazzy music. I just couldn't do it because there's words and I'm concentrating on the words of the music and the words I'm trying to read in my book. But if it's instrumental, I do tend to quite like that. Sometimes if I'm struggling to get into the zone when reading, I will put on the Narnia winter music. It's like a 5-hour long repeated thing on YouTube, and I will listen to that while I'm reading, and I find that really helps. So yeah, there's that. Number 18, one point of view or multiple. Depending on the book and the story, I'm quite happy with just one point of view. However, I do quite like to know how other people are feeling, what they're thinking. So I would say I probably prefer a multiple perspective, or multiple point of view. As I said in, I don't know if I actually did say that. Never mind, I'll tell you now. So I read a book recently called A Year at the Star and Sixpence, by Holly Hepburn, and that follows two sisters, and that does occasionally change from sister to sister, and I really liked that. I liked seeing how the other one felt about things. I read Safe Haven recently by Nicholas Sparks, and that flips between two perspectives, and I found it really, really interesting to read about the girl and its ex-husband and his perspective. I found that really, really interesting. So yeah, I would probably say I'm a multiple point of view kind of girl. So yeah, we'll go with that. Number 19, do you read a book in one sitting or over multiple days? So usually it takes me multiple days just because I'm so lazy, or I fall asleep, or I'm just a bit pants, basically. However, if I am really, really into a book, I could finish it in a day. So yeah, I finished one recently in a day. It was actually Safe Haven by Nicholas Sparks. I finished that in a day and I thought it was fab. But other books can take me ages. Sometimes I'll only read like a chapter or two a day or every other day. So it just depends on the book and how I'm feeling about it, whether I'm really, really into it or not. So there's that. And then the last question is, who do you tag? So I'm not going to tag anyone specifically, but if anyone would like to take part and answer these questions, then I would love to see your video. So let me know in the comment section down below if you do take part. As I said, I will leave a link to Paper Fury's blog post on it if you would like to see her thoughts. But yeah, that's everything for me. I really hope you enjoyed these questions and my answers, and I will see you guys in my next video.